Hi, and welcome to the first of a series of conversations and questions with Dr. Robert Long. I'm Robert Sams and this is Gabrielle Carlton. In this series, we'll be exploring questions and concerns we have about the safety, risk and security industry with Rob. We hope you enjoy our conversations, and I'll hand over now to Gab for our first question.
Thanks, Rob. And also thank you to you, Rob. So my first question is basically about risk mitigation. The risk industry is fixated on this and controlling of risk, but your book, Risk Makes Sense, seems to go against that in a sense. Can you talk me through that?
That's a great question. Look, I think sometimes we look for really simple answers to problems, and risk is no doubt a problem for many people, how they manage it. The trouble is there's a reverse side to the whole issue of mitigation or risk aversion. So the more we pursue risk aversion, the more we pursue risk mitigation, the more we take away opportunities to learn. So somewhere along the line, we've got to get the balance right between the quest to manage risk and keep people safe, but also the quest to help people learn and help them engage with risk, because we need risk in order to learn in many areas of our life.
So, Rob, what you actually mean is we don't learn without risk.
Gab, what's really important for us to understand is that learning and risk are flip side of the same coin, and I think this is what the industry misses. It's the same coin and we only have it flipped on one side. So you can't learn without risk means that you have to risk, or you have to do things, you have to venture out, you have to be adventurous, or you have to explore more than just laying in bed every day to learn something. So I take a risk just to get out of bed and drive my car to the post office. I take a risk when I engage in a new relationship with someone because I might get hurt by it. I engage in risk when I jump in an excavator with an apprentice who's just beginning to learn how to drive it, and I take those little risks. Each little step in risk helps that apprentice learn. So this is what I mean by risk. And so it's connected to things like the human limitation, the human fallibility that we are, it's innate within every human. So we're not perfect human beings. We're on this journey in our life, learning constantly through experience, through relationships, through even formal education, and each one of those steps has some kind of risk attached to it. So it's an absurdity. It's an absurdity to claim that we should totally go for risk mitigation or risk aversion. So we now have new problems such as in schools or in workplaces or in playgroups. We've now got parents so much wrapping their children up in cotton wool, trying to save them from disease, that in fact their children are not developing resistance to diseases. So we can't blow out candles on cakes in playgroups and preschools now, because we might throw spit onto the person who's right next to us, that little 5-year-old kid. Well, somewhere along the line, we have to live real life. You actually have to take a risk. And now the doctors are telling us that we need some of those exposure to allergens, to disease, in fact, to make our body hardy and strong and resistant. Otherwise, we're going to get to where we are coming very soon, where human beings actually won't even be able to live properly with antibiotics. And we're now becoming allergic to their effectiveness simply by what we've done through risk mitigation over a period of time. So it's the flip of the same coin. You can't touch one part, mitigation, without affecting the other. And that's the purpose of the book, Risk Makes Sense, to bring some sense back into the debate.
So Rob, thinking about that a bit further, certainly from my background, from a health and safety perspective, do you think that we might have got it just wrong, thinking about objects and not people?
Rob, I don't think it's so much a matter of what's right and what's wrong. I think, in fact, probably the safety industry, the risk and security industry, focus way too much on this is right and this is wrong. Yeah. And it's kind of a forensic legislative approach to dealing with an issue. Yeah. In fact, if you look at the textbooks that float around in safety, they're just full of so much technical stuff. But it's technical stuff about humans. And you don't kind of get things right and wrong when it comes to humans. Humans change, humans are fallible, we're unpredictable. There's lots of stuff in this life that just is not predictable. Yeah. So the key is not so much has safety got it wrong, But I think safety has got a long way to go before it matures about the nature of risk. I think there's a bit of growing up we've got to do, and wrapping people in cotton wool, wrapping children in cotton wool actually doesn't help them grow up. Wrapping adults in cotton wool doesn't help them grow up. So it's not about is risk the enemy, it's how do you manage risk? How do you engage with risk in such a way that you both learn and you mature? That's really the question. So I'm not so fixed on, this is wrong or this is right. And I think a lot of industries have got a long way to go before they really get to the guts of understanding how social arrangements affect decision making, how people make decisions when they are together, what pressures affect their decision making, what really happens in organisations when factions and groups control the way decisions are made. There's so much more to learn in that area. Yeah. And so we've just got to mature up, I think. I think we've got to not drop the ball on legislation and not drop the ball on practical things and processes in risk and safety. But I think we've not really strongly focused enough on what makes people tick, how does their social arrangements change judgments, and what can we do to influence the way we work with other people in the management of risk.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob. Wonderful. So if you're interested in any more of this topic or other conversations in our series or even our programs, please come and contact us on our website. The details will be there for any of us to contact directly by email. Thank you.